Good day and welcome to another edition of our Applied Economics class. I'm Sir Van, and for today's discussion, we will discuss the basic principles of supply. So first, what is supply? Supply refers to the quantity of goods a seller is willing to offer for sale. It describes the total amount of a specific good or service that is available to consumers. So sa pinakasimpleng explanation, ano ba ang supply? Supply ay yung dami ng produkto na gustong ipagbili o ibenta ng supplier sa kanyang mga consumer sa merkado. Then what is law of supply? So law of supply means there is a direct relationship between the price of a good and the quantity supplied rather for that good. As the price increases, the quantity supplied of that product also increases. So just like demand na may law of demand, si supply din, supply rin, meron din naman law of supply. But ang pinagkaiba ni law of demand kay law of supply, si law of demand kasi inverse relationship. Kung matatandaan natin from our previous video, na-discuss na rin natin yan. So, hindi sabay o salungat yung nagiging takbo ng presyo at ng quantity demanded. While kay law of supply, meron tayong direct relationship. Ibig sabihin, habang tumataas ang presyo, ay tumataas din naman yung quantity supply. Habang bumababa yung presyo, bababa din naman yung quantity supply. So, bakit kaya well, practically speaking, pinag-uusapan natin dito ay seller's perspective. So, ano ba ang main goal ng mga seller? Kumita ng pera. So, habang tumataas yung presyo, dadamihan ngayon ni seller yung kanyang ipagbibili sa merkado dahil nga gusto niyang kumita, mas malaki yung magiging kita niya kung mas mataas na ang presyo. At kung bababa nga yung presyo ng isang produkto, obviously, babaan din naman niya yung kanyang quantity supply dahil niya maliit yung kanyang magiging tubo o yung kikitain niya from that particular product. So, same lang din naman kay demand. Meron tayong tatlong ways para makita natin yung supply. First is supply schedule, a table that shows different quantities the seller is willing to sell at various prices. So, nakikita natin sa supply schedule yung price at yung quantity na gustong ipagbili nga or ibenta ng seller sa kanyang mga consumers. Makikita natin dito sa supply schedule yung direct relationship na tinutukoy natin kanina na habang tumataas yung presyo ay tataas din naman yung quantity supplied na gusto mong ibenta ng seller. Then, meron tayong pangalawa, supply curve. Graphical illustration of the supply schedule. So, kung anong makikita mo sa supply schedule, makikita mo doon, may ilalapat natin doon sa supply curve. Same lang din naman ng demand curve. Yung vertical axis represents price, while the horizontal axis is for quantity. So, kung sa supply schedule, sumasabay nga yung pagtaas ng presyo doon sa pagtaas ng pagtaas ng quantity supplied, makikita natin sa supply curve yung pataas na arrow, yung pataas na linya dahil nga direct relationship yung meron sa price at doon sa quantity. Then, last but not the least is supply function. Supply function shows how the quantity supplied of a good depends on its determinants, the most important of which is the price of the good itself. Thus, the equation QS equals C plus D, which means QS is equals to quantity supplied. C is for quantity supplied if the price is zero, D is for the slope of the supply function, and P for the price. So let's proceed to our sample problem. If C is equals to 10, D is equals to 2, P is equals to 5 pesos, what is the quantity supplied? So, sabi ko kanina, yung equation natin is QS equals C plus DP. So, QS equals 10 plus 2P. 2P means 2 multiplied by the price. Kada ba yung price natin? 5 pesos. So 2 times 5 is equals to 10. So QS equals 10 plus 10, or quantity supplied is 20. So let's proceed to our supply schedule. So makikita natin na for the price of 5, ang quantity supplied natin is 20. For the price of 1 peso, 12, 2, 14, 3, 16, 4, 18, 6, 22, and so on and so forth. So makikita natin na doon sa quantity supplied, yung pagitan ng bawat isa habang tumataas yung presyo is by 2. So bakit po by 2? Makikita natin yan dito sa ating slope of the supply function, yung ating letter D. Ano ba yung letter D natin? 2. So habang tumataas po yung presyo, ay tataas ng dalawang bahagdan yung quantity supply. So makikita natin yan yung sa ating supply schedule. Para mas makita pa natin yung naging resulta ng ating equation, yung ating pag-solve ng ating problem, tingnan natin sa supply curve. So, for the price of 5 pesos, may quantity tayo na 20. So, 12, 14, 16, 18, so on and so forth. 0 from 0 to 10 onwards. Okay? So, ganun lang kasimple mag-plot ng supply schedule sa ating supply curve. The next is the non-price determinants of supply. Same lang din ito ng kay demand. What if hindi gumalaw ang presyo? So gagalaw ba ang supply? Yes. May mga factors tayong i-consider para gumalaw yung supply kahit hindi nagbabago yung presyo. First is the cost of production. It refers to the expenses incurred to produce the good. An increase in cost will normally result in a lower supply of the good even when the price will not change. An increase in the price of flour means an increase in the price of bread also. So for example, dito sa ating cost of production as non-price determinant of supply. So let's just say na nagtaas ang presyo ng harina. Harina ay flour sa English. Ang flour ay sangkap, numero unong sangkap sa paggawa ng tinapay. So, kung sakali mo tataas ang presyo ng harina, which is sangkap nga sa pag-produce ng isang tinapay, mangangahulugan yun ng mas mababang supply para sa panadero, para sa kanyang bakery. Dahil nga nagtaas yung presyo ng harina, hindi nagtaas yung presyo mismo ng mismong tinapay. But, yung cost of production yung tinitingnan natin. Iba yung cost of production doon sa mismong presyo ng tinapay o ng mismong produkto. Yung produkto mismo, hindi nagbago yung presyo. Still, the same. Pero yung cost of production ay tumaas. Kaya yung supply for that particular product, which is yung bread niya or tinapay, ay bumaba. So nakaka-apekto yung cost of production doon sa supply ng isang produkto, even though yung mismong price itself ng produkto ay hindi naman nagbago. Kung bumaba naman yung presyo ng harina, well, obviously, tataas yung supply dahil niya mas nakamura yung panadero, but still yung presyo ay ganun pa rin. Then next is technology. The use of improved technology in the production of a good will result in the increase of supply of that good. Example, Timothy used modern machinery in his bakery, which resulted in more bread he could make each day. So, well, may natin dito na yung paggamit niya ng technology, ng modern technology, modern equipments, ayan, machineries, ay makakabuti para sa pagpapataas ng supply ng isang produkto, even though yung presyo mismo ng produkto ay hindi naman nagagalaw. Sabi natin yun, non-price determinants of supply. So, gumagalaw yung supply, pero hindi nadadagdagan, hindi naman gumagalaw yung presyo. Bagkus yung teknolohiya na ginamit para ma-produce yung produktong iyon. So, nakaka-apekto yun sa ating supply. Then last but not the least is the availability of raw materials. More resources can be used to produce a bigger output of the good when supply increases. Example, His source of ingredients increased in his eatery business due to the opening of a large market near them. So kung mas malaki o mas malawak yung availability ng raw materials, mas makakahanap ka ng mas murang raw material o mas murang sangkap para sa iyong produkto at mangangahulugan yun ng pagtaas ng iyong supply. Kung sakali mang hindi ka man makahanap ng mas mura na raw material, pero yung fact na mas marami ka ng pagkukunan ng raw material ay magbubukas din yon ng pinto para mas tumaas ang iyong supply. Compare doon sa limited lang yung pinagkukunan mo ng raw materials or malayo pa yung pinagkukunan mo ng raw materials. Well, makikita natin doon yung nagiging epekto sa supply. Dahil nga kung malayo, panigurado naapektuhan yung supply. Pero kung madami at malapit, katulad ng ating example, di ba? May nagbukas na large market sa paligid ng negosyante. So, mangangahulugan yun ng mas malaki o mas maraming o mas malawak yung availability ng raw materials na nakapaligid sa kanya. So, shift of the supply curve. So, same lang din ito ng kay demand. So, hindi nagbabago yung presyo. So, expect na natin na hindi aangat or hindi bababa yung supply. Bagkus, gumagalaw lang siya from right, to the right rather, gumagalaw lang siya to the right or to the left. So when a change in the price of a good causes the quantity supplied for that good to change, this is illustrated on the same supply curve and is simply a movement from one point to another on that curve. If the curve shifts to the right, which is yung first picture natin, to the right, it means there is an increase of the supply of a product due to non-price determinants. So, possibly tumanda yung teknolohiyang ginamit, dumami yung raw materials na available, or bumaba yung cost of production. If the curve shifts to the left, there is a decrease on the supply of a product due to non-price determinants. So, kung sakali matumaas yung cost of production or hindi makagamit ng magandang teknolohiya or kumonte yung raw materials na available sa paligid niya. So magre-result yon sa pag-shift ng curve to the left na hindi naman nagbabago. Same, to the right or to the left man yan, hindi nagbabago yung presyo. So let's do a recap of our discussion for today. So the basic principles of supply. So we discussed what is supply. Supply is yung dami ng produkto na gusto pagbili or benta ng supplier sa kanyang consumer. And meron tayong tinatawag na law of supply, which is may direct relationship yung price at yung quantity supply. Tataas yung presyo, tataas yung quantity supply, bababa yung presyo, bababa yung quantity supply. Then meron tayong tatlong ways para makita itong supply. So first is supply schedule, second is supply curve, a graphical illustration ng supply schedule, and of course, paggamit ng supply function or the equation for this is US equals C plus DP. Then meron tayong sample problem and nakuha natin is for our QS is 20. So may that is supply schedule, yung 20 sa presyo ng 5 pesos and our supply curve, may itilin natin yung representation nga or illustration nga ng supply schedule sa ating supply curve. And discuss din natin yung non-price determinants of supply. Kung sakali mang hindi gumalaw ang presyo, gagalaw ba ang supply? Yes, nasagot natin yan sa tulong ng tatlong bagay: cost of production, technology, and availability of raw materials. So it's either mag-shift pa kanan dahil natataas yung supply or mag-shift siya pa kaliwa dahil nga bumaba yung supply. So that's all for this lesson. I hope na may natutunan tayo. Although yung perspective for this lesson is seller's perspective. Lahat naman tayo ay consumers. Pero, well, di ba, we will see. Hindi natin alam kung one of these days maging seller ka din or in the future maging seller ka din. So, I hope na may nakuha kahit pa paano, may natutunan ka at may apply natin in real life situation. And, even hindi ka maging seller sa hinaharap, eh, kahit pa paano, once na natutunan mo tong basic principles of supply, eh, kahit pa paano, magkaroon ka ng idea doon sa perspectives ng mga sellers sa lipunan. Okay? So, that's all for today. Let's see kung may apply natin itong mga bagay na to, itong mga na-discuss natin para sa araw na to. So that's all for today. Have a nice day and see you again for our next discussion about live economics. This is Sir Van. Thank you so much.